Alright guys, this is a video tutorial on how to create a Hyperdoc. And a Hyperdoc is basically either a document or a slideshow that helps you to organize resources, notes, and instruction pieces for your students. First off, I am going to address the concern that it does contain links to other resources. And so a concern is that as your students work through the document, they're opening links to multiple resources and videos. And so I just want to explain that you can put as many or as few external links into your Hyperdoc as you deem necessary. So some teachers that I've seen choose to put a lot of almost like notes or information in the document itself, and then the links they provide are to either assessments that their kids fill out or other additional resources to support them. So I found that Hyperdocs are an excellent way to let students work at their own pace through a new concept or an assignment or an activity. It also allows teachers to differentiate their instruction because you can provide multiple resources for your kids to explore or for them to receive additional support in learning that particular concept. So this is an example of a Hyperdoc that I'm working on for my 6th and 7th grade students to learn about and explore theme. And I want to start off by saying I'm going to assign each student their own copy. So in Google Classroom, when I attach this Hyperdoc to the assignment, I'm going to give each student a copy. That way, as you'll see later on, when they go to edit different slides, they will only be editing the copy that they have. However, again, as you'll see in a moment, there are links that will open to documents that all the students will have access to, in which case I will either require them to edit their own slide or to create a document to make a copy of that document so that it becomes theirs and only they will edit it. So to begin with, I start with a disclaimer for my students that they can work through the document at their own pace, but that all responses within the document and assignments are due by Friday. And this is something I'll push out on Monday, and they have the entire week to work on. So since this is something they haven't done before, I again start with the objectives, which they're used to by now, explaining what they should be able to do by the end of this document. Now, here is kind of like their table of contents. So they've never done a Hyperdoc before, so I might modify these directions, but they're going to click on each link if they wish, and it will take them to that slide. Otherwise, they can just work through the document slide by slide. And then I also explained that they hover their cursor over the cursor arrow over the links on each slide and then click on the link to open it. Now, this is something that I didn't realize you could do. You can create a link within your slideshow to other slides in that slideshow. So if I want to link them to the KWL chart, I'm going to highlight that, then click on Insert and go down to Link. And then I'm going to click on Slides in this presentation, and it happens to be the next slide, so I'm going to click that. So now the text still says KWL chart, but if I click on it, it takes them to the next slide. So this is the first document they will open, and it happens to be a document that will be assigned just to this class, so I've labeled it. That is a piece of advice I will share. Label each copy of the documents that you're making for each class period. So I have 2 7th grade classes that will be completing a KWL chart, so I made one document that I shared in the classes Hyperdoc for each class. So this KWL chart will only be edited by students in my 2nd hour class. All right. Next, so last year I covered theme with these students as 6th graders. So I did let them move forward if they wish. Otherwise, I provided both videos if students have decent bandwidth at their homes, or if bandwidth is a concern, I've provided just a PDF document that they can read. Then this is where I have provided some additional support. I've provided an additional infographic if they're still confused that contains the information broken down a bit differently, an additional video for them to watch, and I've provided my information for office hours so students can contact me directly and ask their questions. Then these are some notes that I provided for students. So there's nothing for them to click on, but it is information for them. Now, here is where I've had some issues just trying to keep myself organized. So again, each class has their own slideshow of assessments. So students will have to make a copy. Now I'm going to link it into this slide, and I recommend having the documents you're going to link already up in your window as tabs because I got lost earlier trying to find them. So I click on these assessments because that's the link that I want students to click on. Copy the link. So this is going to be the document, and if you look here, the directions, the very first direction is for them to make a copy so that they're not all editing the same document. And I'm going to go back to my Hyperdoc and then click on Insert, Link, paste the link, and apply it. So now when students click on the words, these assessments, it will take them to that slideshow. Now, this is the fun part. This is where I've differentiated their final kind of assessment for this unit. They are going to choose from one of 3 options to show what they know about theme. So for each link, I have provided a brief description. So identify a theme in your independent reading novel, write a short story demonstrating a theme of your choice, or choose a short story or poem, analyze its theme. So each of these links goes to a Google Doc. And this Google Doc, again, they have to make a copy of so that they can edit it and then attach it at the very end of this assignment. And then, because each student has their own copy of this Hyperdoc, they are able to provide their answers to this final piece of their KWL chart within this Hyperdoc, and they're the only ones editing this slideshow. And then again, for my students personally, I've explained to them one more time what needs to be attached in the Google Classroom assignment for them to receive full credit. So to review, this Hyperdoc is a place where I've organized links and resources for students as well as their assignments. It's all in one place. The more explicit your directions are for the kids if they read them, the easier it's going to be for them to navigate. And again, it allows them to work at their own pace. They can go back to any of the information. They can reach out to you if they have questions. And although it does require them opening multiple documents and resources, I think that it's a great way to reach all of your students, to provide the support they need, and also to just kind of get them engaged with what you're going over. And then I have provided resources where I got a lot of this information. There are some other examples down below in the description of this video. Happy distance teaching!